The inmate population is watching you even when you think they are not watching you. So shouldn't we be watching the inmate population even when they think we are not watching them? Today I want to talk about incompetence and complacency. Incompetence is the inability to do your job to a satisfactory standard. And complacency is when you get so secure in your job and your work environment that you slack up. You don't do things properly, you let things go, you oversee things, you take shortcuts in your duties, which cause dangerous situations to occur. And we've seen way too many officers killed lately, way too many officers injured badly lately. And yes, part of that is short staffing, overworked, mandatory overtime, causing a human body to just get so tired that you can't see everything, you can't do everything that you normally would if you had your proper rest. I understand that. But we do have folks that are incompetent and not doing their job satisfactory, right? Being incompetent does not mean you're stupid. It means that maybe you weren't trained well enough, maybe you're just lazy, or maybe you don't know your job and you need retraining. But being incompetent and not doing your job satisfactory is very dangerous for everyone involved, for all your coworkers. Now, also, besides the inmate population, who knows who's incompetent and does not know their job, and they know who is complacent. They know this before the supervisors know this. Why do the inmates know this right off the bat? Well, number one, they're in there 24/7 and they study every officer's habits. Number two, who spends more time with the officer? The inmates do, not the supervisors. Supervisors come by and check periodically, hopefully. And they don't see how you're working. Now, who else knows if you're incompetent or complacent? Your own co-workers on the front line, they're going to figure out soon enough that you're not doing your job, that you're incompetent. Okay, we can fix being incompetent. We can fix you. But we need people to recognize this that are in uniform and maybe take you off to the side and tell you, hey, you're doing this wrong. You're not doing the count properly, or you're not watching during feeding. You're turning your back. You're letting another inmate get your attention while other inmates are doing things behind your back. You know, we have to help each other to stop incompetency, right? We can't just go around and say, hey, that guy is incompetent, that girl's incompetent, and laugh. Fix the problem. You know, don't have to go to a supervisor. Frontline people can keep care of themselves if we learn how to care for each other. Now, if that incompetent person doesn't get straightened out after a while with the frontline staff helping, we might have to let a sergeant know, hey, John Doe is just, man, so incompetent, he's going to get somebody hurt. You know, because what are you doing? You're saving officers from being injured because of an incompetent officer. Same with complacency. You know, that can even go on the far end. Here's an officer with 20 years just doing the same thing for 20 years, just tired, taking shortcuts now. And here's an example. I come down to the dorm to pick up an inmate for transport from Officer John Doe. Officer John Doe says, I searched him already, you're good to go. And I say, oh, good. All right, I got you. Thanks for searching him. And I take the inmate off on the transport. Well, that's wrong. That's being complacent. Officer John Doe is supposed to search the inmate before they turn him over to transportation. That's check number one. Check number two is I'm the transport officer. I'm now responsible for that inmate. I need to search that inmate again. Hey, I'm the one. It's my life at stake when I'm transporting this inmate. So don't become so complacent that you forget about all these checks and balances. Okay? Yes, the inmate is being double searched. So what? The dorm officer searched the inmate, which is great. That's great that they're attentive enough to do that before turning the inmate over to you. Now I'm the transport officer. That's my inmate. I'm going to search. I don't want anybody getting hurt or killed by this inmate during my transport. Okay? See, these are just some of the things we have to think about. Complacency kills. You hear that term all the time. Complacency kills. And it can kill, because by you being complacent as an officer and not doing your job, not checking out a situation where inmates look like they're hiding something in their bunk and you can see it from the control room. Now, what do? Well, you just nonchalantly, tell your partner, we're going to do a cell search. If you want to get another person to go with you, get somebody else to go with you. If you can, in today's world of corrections, staff shortage may not let you, but at least have somebody in that control room watching to call for backup if you need help all of a sudden. And go on up and look around, do your rounds, and then when you get to that cell, go look under that bed mattress where it looked like one inmate handed something off to another, and that inmate put it under there, under the mattress. And something as simple as that reveals a shank, a homemade knife. Now, you may have just saved an inmate's life, you may have just saved an officer's life, you may have just saved a nurse's life. But if you just look at it and ignore it, that's being complacent. You're not doing your job. Now somebody could be at risk. I mean, what are we there for? We're the police behind the razor wire, right? We are the police behind the razor wire. We just saw a possible violation. We need to pull them over. We need to take care of that. We need to find out what they were up to. Think of it in those terms, folks. Of everything you do is possibly saving the life of someone behind the prison walls or the jail walls. But if you just go in there not watching or not caring about what you see, then you are letting the wolves take over the den, and the officers aren't in charge of that den anymore. And the wolves will take over the entire den, and they'll start running things, and it'll start running wild and getting crazy, as we see on some of these stupid TikTok videos that are coming out of the jails and prisons. And how are they getting out of the jails and prisons? Because the inmates are running wild and they're using smuggled cell phones to take these videos, sending them out to their friends, and they're on TikTok, and they think it's a funny game. When I see those videos, the first thing that comes to mind is, who in the heck is running that dorm? Who's in charge of these inmates? Why are these inmates running rampant? It's a hard job we do. It's a very dangerous job already. Without being incompetent, without being complacent, we're in danger. Now you put incompetence and complacency in the game, and we're even in more danger. And the inmates look for that. They're watching you when you don't even think they're watching. They're watching every move you make. They're talking about you. They're discussing you with the other inmates. Well, this shift, we cannot get away with it. Officer John Doe's on duty, and there's just no way. But the next shift, I think we're going to have Officer Smith. That's when we'll make our move, because Smith never watches nothing. Smith could care less. These are just names I'm making up, folks, not real officers. So it's to the point where we have to police ourselves as well as police the inmates. We have to watch for our fellow co-workers that are incompetent, and we have to take it upon ourselves to train them and get them on the right track. When we see someone who's very complacent, we need to take care of that. No, you don't have to run off to your sergeant. Just talk to him. Say, hey, I know you saw that. I'm going to go take care of it now. You need to come with me, but wait, why didn't you take care of it when you were right there? If they get mean and irate and nasty, just let it go. It may be one of those officers that we have to finally let a sergeant know about it, and hopefully the sergeant is not complacent and is on the ball and is a fireball sergeant that takes care of business, and hopefully they'll get on that person and straighten it out. If we don't start policing ourselves, we're not going to be able to police the inmates properly. That's kind of the point of this whole video. So I'll stop right there. I think I got my point across. Let's start watching the inmates when they don't even know we're watching them. Okay, let's reverse the situation, because they're always going to be watching us 24/7. They know all about you. They know your movements. They know your mannerism. They know how you stand. They know if you're alert. They know if you're not alert, if you're looking down at the ground all the time and not looking at anything going on. They're watching you, folks. Get on the ball. Do your job to satisfactory standards. And don't become complacent. Let's save lives. Thank you, Gary York. True Prison Stories.